I'd buy that for, well, $70 apparently. Okay people, welcome back to another Fwoosh review. Tonight I'm taking a look at the Medicom MAFEX Robocop. It's your standard MAFEX box, you get some graphics around it, and they try to, well this one they did some like brushed aluminum or steel for the overall motif. But it's essentially promotional shots and movie logos. The window you see most everything that comes with the figure. On the side you get a pretty promotional shot, movie logo. On the back more promotional shots, more movie logos, more company logos, poses, all the accessories it comes with. Down here's the warnings, well, there's no unreadables, everything's in... But there are some unreadables here. Yeah, look at that. Probably says something like, you don't actually have to shoot the figure in the face to make it look like that. On the side, another promotional shot, another movie logo. On top, another movie logo. On the bottom, more unreadables, warnings, legalese, your winning lottery numbers. But I'm going to get this out of the box and see how this stacks up to the only other Robocop figure I have. And whoa, you kind of get an elaborate instruction sheet with this one. I don't remember earlier MAFEX figures having this. I remember instruction sheets, but not newspaper-sized ones where you... going out and get the paper. Runs you through switching out the face parts, the top of the helmet parts. It says right here, make sure helmet covers the nose completely. But they didn't even do that in their own packaging. It's kind of sticking out right here. That looks right. It's down over the nose, and that's just damn scary. Have the effect part for the gun, and then all of this seems to be switching out parts for the shoulder. I haven't even got to the figure yet, and I'm messing up body parts. But all the parts and swaps to simulate the holster on the thigh. And there we go, all out of the package, and ooh. I'm not the biggest fan of Robocop in the world, but ooh. First of all, man, the sculpting on this thing, I said I wasn't the biggest fan, but I am a fan of Robocop, and damn it if they did not nail all the detail work on this suit of armor. And let's not kid ourselves, it's a suit of armor. Yes, it's robotics, it's mechanical parts in the realm of the movie, but essentially it's a dude in a suit, and this replicates that so well. But on top of the sculpting, on top of the proportions, we saw it in the promotional images, and I don't know how well it comes across on video here, but the little purple tints, I didn't think I'd like it as much as the bluish tints on Robocop 2, but now that I have this in hand and I'm looking at it, just how subtle it is and how just nicely done, I think I'm good with keeping the Robocop 1. But that's final thoughts. What am I doing? I'm jumping way ahead. But it's not just purple. You can see the blue right there. There's purple right under it, kind of a contrast color on top of this silver. And over that, it feels like it's kind of coated with a glassy, glossy finish. And the sheen from that over the glossy black, oh man, just taking pictures a minute ago, it was a pure joy. Can I say it any other way? It was just like, oh, it's so pretty. There's some blue and some purple mixed in right there. It's not all over the figure. It's here, it's there. It's used very sparingly, and the effect totally works. It won me over. And then we get up to the head, and I thought, oh, surely they wouldn't use some printing tech. In the macro of the camera, the HD, whatnot, you can see little specks, but me looking at it in person, you can't see it. It's not, whoa, that's ugly as shit. Look at Robocop, he has freckles all over. No, it's not like that. Also, if you remember way back when I was talking about the instructions, you know, so long ago, I had a problem in the package of the helmet not covering the nose. You have to push kind of hard, but it does cover up. I feel like it should come down just a little bit more to get rid of the nose completely, get closer to the lip, but this works. What am I gonna grop about? You can also see the OPC Police 001 on the side right there, and if we go back down, it's also down here on the thigh. And then the helmet continues the same sheen. It's got just slight purple here, slight blue there, just completely works. One thing, looking at movie steels, I feel like it should be a little bit more hippie, not peace and love and all that kind of stuff, especially when it comes to Robocop, but I feel like the hips should stick out just a little bit more. And you can kind of make them do that with the way the leg articulation is, but then you get them in a stance and it kind of loses it. Also, the shoulders sticking out like they do, the gap, it's accurate, I feel like. Peter Weller's arm coming out and then going down into the armor of the arm, it kind of sticks out. You can move it around and slightly hide it, but then he gets the arm out to here look. Not terrible, not terrible at all. Again, like I said, a dude in a suit of armor, even though, you know, it's a robot armor. And then one of my favorite things, we're skipping ahead into the articulation part, but this piston on the back of the leg, it actually works. It goes up in, it comes out, and it's on a ball joint right here, so you don't lose any ankle movement it just kind of rotates with it. This is probably more movement than the actual suit got in the movie. Going over articulation, there seems to be a ball joint going up into the head, and then a ball joint going down into the body. But because of the design itself, you have to work at some of the movement here and there. Shift back and then move forward. He can almost touch his chin to his chest. Shifting forward and coming back, looking up. Pretty good tilt for Robocop. Swivel. And then the shoulder. I have no clue what's going on here. It seems to be a long dumbbell joint going in with a cover piece, but there's also a shift out of the whole assembly. So as is, you get forward, back, you get up, you get down, but when you shift out, you can then get up, move around, kind of avoid the shoulder pad right there. Forward, back, down, up, lot more range of movement, and then that just boop. It's kind of crazy. But even crazier, there's a ball joint here at the shoulder, and I feel like there's a peg coming down into the arm, but there is no bicep swivel. I mean, it's simulated a lot with the actual shoulder piece. I feel like this should rotate out here, and if it does, mine is stuck, both sides. I can't get it to go. I've push pretty hard and it's not going anywhere. Then we get to the beautiful elbow. The way it seems, it looks like a hinge joint, and in the movie it probably rotated on that point right there. So realistic to the movie, if you rotate it at the top of the double elbow joint, it gets about right there and it still looks robotic, you know? But if you keep moving at the bottom of the elbow joint, it comes up to here, which probably for Robocop is way past his range of movement. You can see that this point breaks away from this point, and I say break, it didn't break, it's still there. It doesn't look as seamless when you come up to here. You come down to a swivel hinge swivel at the wrist so you can get up and down. You can also rotate that around and then you can get side to side. In the torso, there's a ball joint at the mid abs and then there's one at the waist. So working together, you can get about right there. Arc back, some tilt, rotation. If you're OCD about these lines and such, you're gonna have to fight a little bit to get it straight all the way across. So of course it goes straight right off the bat. There's a ball joint coming out to the hips with a drop down. You can bring the leg all the way up, back, out, not so far, but again, Robocop, and that shifts back up, but it also rocks right here. If you push up without holding the other leg, it shifts the other one down. You can control the movement of the other one a little bit. You gotta kind of hold both and then shift it up. There's rotation on that hip joint. Single knee comes up to about right there. The ankle joint, talked a little bit about it, but it goes back that far, goes forward. Nice tilt. And then the toe joint moves just a little right about there. For accessories, Robocop comes with 2 relaxed hands. He comes with 2 fists. He comes with a right trigger finger. He comes with a left pointy finger. And then he comes with the data spike hand. And to switch that out, we're used to that with MAFEX. It's just a peg. There's no mushroom to it. It pretty much just slides on. And the ones that didn't come on it in the package are a little bit tight. I'm not afraid, but at the same time, in the past, I've messed with enough of these to know, just go slow, make sure you don't push too hard. Then he comes with his pistol. I believe it's the Auto 9. It's a nice mix of gloss and matte black. I just love the contrast there. And the hand is soft enough to just push the grip down in there, rotate a little bit, put the trigger finger in, not a problem at all. To go along with that, it has a blast effect. I forgot it did this in the movie where it kind of muzzle effect out and then both sides too. This is where they got the idea for Kylo Ren's lightsaber. There's a little groove on the bottom of it, and surprisingly, it actually snaps onto the pistol. So once you have it on, it's not coming off, unless you pull it off, of course. Robocop comes with several different faces. He's got just, you know, the regular Robocop mouth going on. But then you pull this off, you get the Fuel of Nightmares. The front face piece comes off like that. Plug another face piece on. Somebody kill me! Helmet back on, down over the nose, and you get the lips just barely pursed a little bit. You see a little bit of teeth. But there's also Robocop duck face. Now, it's been a while since I've seen the movie. I'm sure this is a certain scene. I don't remember it. All I see is Robocop selfie. But there's also an alternate helmet with the battle damage coming up across here, and that's just so well done. It's sculpted in, but there's also some paint work to make it look a little bit charred, a little bit burnt from the heat of the bullets hitting it. And that brings us to the chest armor, and if you look, it seems pretty seamless. Good job there. Across the top right here, everything matches up, but when you get right here, you can see there's a gap. Same thing on this side, and it's probably hard to see. The chest armor does come off thanks to magnets. And that part's flat, and it feels like it should go up and over the bottom part, but it doesn't. There's a lip or something right there. And the chest armor just doesn't seem big enough to reach over those. But that's really looking close. You don't notice it during normal play. This is how I play. He also comes with a chest piece that's damaged to match the helmet. It's got the sculpted in parts, it's got a dent, it's got some wires showing, which is pretty cool because it's actually a separate piece plugged into the back of that armor. Got some purples, got some blacks, it's just nicely done all together. Putting it on, it doesn't want to match up as nicely here at the top. You can see it sticks out on this side. This side, pretty good. You kind of fiddle it around, try to shove it in there, and it gets pretty close, but you can still see a little bit of gap. And then down at the bottom, same thing. It's just gapped a little bit on both sides. But again, when I'm playing with it, you won't even notice it. And then to finish up the accessories, there is the holster. Looking at the thigh piece, you can see a seam right here that's not on this side. Same thing on the back. Here's a seam running right here. It's not over here. And the first time I tried to pull this off, it was tight as hell. You can either pull right here and it separates, or just grab the top, it pulls off from there. You have the front part, it's got a couple of pegs, you push it in, and you can see that the pegs don't feel like they go all the way in, but I'm afraid to push any harder. Really, when it comes down to it, this is good enough for me. As long as it has the front piece coming off and the holster part coming out, I'm good with that. But that's not all. There's also a back piece where this pin plugs into that hole. That completes the effect. You can see both sides of the thigh piece. It looks like it's spread out, then the holster's out. My thing is this beautiful shading of purple and blue on the outside, the silver, the sheens and all that, and then they make the inside just this dull ass gray plastic. I guess it's okay, but it could have been, you know, a little bit of shading or a bit different color or a matching color or something. Pistol just snaps into place right there and it holds, it stays. Feels like that's a lot of work just to get this effect right here. You know, plugging all these 3 pegs in and such. When you put the thigh armor back on, you just have to find where the pegs go in. Boom. Putting them back in a neutral stance, you can see I popped the ball joint out of the piston on the left foot. It should just, there you go. It went right back in there. It's tight. It stays. I just got a little bit crazy with the ankles. Popped out. Not a biggie. Also putting him back in a neutral stance, just coming back around to that, I was able to push the shoulders in further than I had them out a minute ago. Oh, I think I popped something loose. I lost connection. Reestablishing connection. Oh, there it is. Pushing it back together, I was able to get the shoulders closer to the body. I wish I could see inside to know what was going on, to be sure, you know? For comparison, here he is with 2 NECA Robokillers. I'm so vain. 2 NECA Robocops, and while I like the NECA versions, they're 7-inch scale, they go in with a bunch of other NECA stuff, I think I like the MAFEX better. Plus, it's closer to 6-inch scale. Because here he is with the Hasbro Star Wars Black Series Stormtrooper and the Marvel Legends Black Panther. Also the MAFEX Suicide Squad Deadshot and the MAFEX Dark Knight Joker. And then, as always, here he is with Gus. Does that mean you're designed specifically for arresting Robo?
No.
Yeah, Gus, don't be an idiot. Either way, you should arrest him right this minute. Why? What the hell did I do now? Public indecency.
Explain.
Wouldn't you say he's playing with himself right now? So at the end of the day, just a lovely, lovely action figure. I think I've mentioned that I'm not a super fan of Robocop, but it's ingrained in my head. I lived through those years of, I'd buy that for $1, or
Dead or alive, you're coming with me.
it was just a huge part of pop culture back then. And yeah, you saw I bought the NECA figures. I didn't get I think there's a Figma. I sure didn't get the Hot Toys. Medicom is soliciting versions for Robocop 2, which is more bluish hue to it, and then Robocop 3, which I don't think I've ever seen. After comparing all 3 versions side by side in the promotional shots, I was kind of leaning towards Robocop 2 because of the blue, but having this in hand now, I don't think I need I think this is the Robocop for me right here. That's where I'm falling right now. It's a badass looking Robocop. But I will say QC wise and look wise, compared to a couple of years ago when it came to Medicom, they have made major improvements there. A lot of people think of MAFEX and think loose joints, limbs popping off, terrible paint jobs. This is none of that. I'm good to go all around with this figure. So if you like the review, comment, like, subscribe. I'll catch you on the Fwoosh.